You ever have those mornings where you walk into the shop, smell the sawdust and the ozone from the welder, and just feel like the luckiest person on the planet? Even if you've got a splinter the size of a toothpick under your thumbnail.
Speak for yourself on the splinter part, Tiger. I'm more of a glad I didn't trip over the extension cord kind of person in the morning. But I get it. The air feels productive today.
It's a big week. My brain is buzzing with all this talk about agile fabrication. For years, manufacturing was like trying to turn a freight ship with a hand oar. You set a line, you run 10,000 parts, and if you realize 5,000 units and that the bracket needs to be a 16th of an inch wider, well, you just bought a very expensive pile of scrap metal.
So what? Is the industry finally figuring out how to move as fast as you do when you realize you left the glue bottle open overnight?
Pretty much. These modular workstations and rapid prototyping setups, it's like the move fast and break stuff mentality finally met the measure twice, cut once world. Arc Welding is reporting that these shops are pivoting on a dime now. If an OEM needs a change, the fabricators aren't groaning anymore. They're just swapping a jig and hitting go. It's making small batch professional work look much more like what we do in our home shops, just with way cooler toys.
It sounds like the modern machine shop is becoming less of a factory and more of a laboratory. I saw that the April 2026 digital edition is leaning heavily into AI and precision machining. Is that scary for the old guard?
Only if you're stubborn. Look, I love my manual lathe, but let's be real. I'm a human being with a caffeine habit. My hands shake. AI doesn't have 3 cups of dark roast before starting a tolerance critical pass. It's about the convergence of the two. Use the tech to do the boring precision stuff so you can spend your time on the actual design.
I wish my bank account had that kind of precision. The Precision Metal Forming Association is saying things might soften a bit this quarter. Are we looking at a tighten the belt situation?
It's a lean out phase. It happens. Whenever the economy catches a cold, the shops that survive are the ones that don't have 5 guys standing around watching one machine run. They're becoming more efficient, more agile. There's that word again. It's not about doing less. It's about making sure every strike of the hammer actually adds value to the piece.
Speaking of value, I want to talk about Altitude Academy. I was looking into Jay's heating, air, and plumbing. This isn't your grandfather's sort these bolts in the corner for 3 years apprenticeship.
Man, I love this model. They call it earn while you learn. You start as a green apprentice, and they lay out a map for you. You hit milestone A, you get raise A. You master milestone B, you're now a level 2 tech. It's transparent.
Unlike your mentorship style, which is basically you handing me a sanding block and saying, let me know when your fingerprints are gone.
Hey, tactile feedback is the best teacher. But seriously, look at Steve Adkins from Cornerstone One. That guy started in a garage, one guy, one truck, probably one very stressed out spouse, and built a $50 million mechanical empire. He didn't do that by being the best at fixing a leaky pipe. He did it by obsessing over the people he hired and the culture they worked in. If you're looking to get into the trades right now, don't just look at the hourly rate. Look for the defined development levels. Find a place that wants you to be their next lead, not just their next pair of hands.
Okay, let's pivot. We've got listeners who aren't looking to join a big company. They want to be the company. The Maker Mogul dream. Shopify put out their 2026 growth guide, and it's surprisingly grounded.
I was reading that. It's refreshing. They're telling people to stop trying to buy fame with Facebook ads and start talking to the micro-influencers. That's just a fancy word for the person in your niche who people actually trust. If you make bespoke fly fishing reels, you don't need a Super Bowl ad. You need the 3 guys on YouTube who spend every weekend on the river to love your product.
It's about validating demand before you go into debt, right? You always talk about your failed rocking chair line.
Oh, let's go there. I spent 3 months building a dozen perfect rocking chairs. I thought they were the pinnacle of design. I put them for sale. And you know what I found out? People thought they were too tall. I had built a chair for people who are 6'5", because I am 6'5". If I had done a Founders Edition pre-order or just validated the design with a few prototype sales, I wouldn't have had a workshop full of chairs that made everyone feel like a toddler whose feet couldn't reach the floor.
I remember those. You used them as firewood eventually, didn't you?
I call it expensive thermal energy. But look, the other thing Shopify mentioned is the T word. Taxes. People think they're just a hobbyist until they sell $10,000 worth of cutting boards on Etsy and the IRS comes knocking. Start tracking your receipts now, even that box of sandpaper you bought on a whim. Future, you will want to take you out for a steak, if you have those records organized in April.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty projects. The DIY side. I am seeing live edge slabs everywhere again. I thought we were over the whole river table thing.
The river might be drying up, but the wood slab itself, that's timeless. But here's the trap people fall into. They go to a local guy with a portable sawmill, buy a slab that's only been drying for 3 weeks, take it home, build a table, and 3 months later, it curls up like a potato chip because the moisture content was still 18%.
Tiger, you're scaring them. How do they avoid the potato chip effect?
You've got to check the stabilization. Buy a cheap moisture meter. It's $30. If that wood isn't under 10%, walk away or be prepared to let it sit in your garage for a year.
Speaking of things that can go wrong, let's talk about painting. I watched you yesterday staring at a wall for 20 minutes.
I wasn't staring, I was admiring the arrow-worthy brushes. Listen, I used to be the guy who bought the $5 throwaway brushes. I figured, I'm just going to leave it in the bucket and let it get hard anyway. But a good brush? These new ones hold so much more paint. You're not dipping every 3 seconds. You can cut a line against the ceiling that looks like it was done by a robot.
And if you mess up the wall, you can always call Carlos from Elemento Drywall. I saw those clips of him doing Montador de Drywall. It's like watching a ballet dancer, but with more white dust.
That level 5 finish he gets is no joke. Most DIYers think you just slap some mud on and sand it until you're tired. Carlos uses these mechanical tapers and specialized corner beads. It's about building up the coats thin and wide. If you're doing a renovation this weekend, do yourself a favor. Stop trying to hide a bad tape job with more mud. Get the right corner beads. It's the difference between a wall that looks like a rolling hill and one that's actually flat.
We've covered a lot today, from high-tech AI machining to the proper way to sand a joint. What's the big picture for this week, Tiger?
Honestly, it's about the long game. Whether you're learning to weld at an academy, trying to sell your first birdhouse, or just painting the guest room, don't look at the project as a chore. Look at it as a deposit into your skill bank. Every time you mess up a cut or screw up a finish, you're not failing. You're just buying a very specific hands-on education. Just try not to pay too much tuition in one weekend, all right?
Spoken like a man who has a very high degree from the School of Hard Knocks.
I'm the dean of students there, Alex.
Well, that's the TigerDen Daily for April 6th. Go build something, go learn something, and for heaven's sake, keep track of your receipts.
And check your moisture content. See you in the shop.